Let's go ahead and continue on our outline. You see next 3 branches of philosophy. Now we're diving into these aspects of philosophy. Again, we're not letting go of Scripture. We're not letting go of theology. I would be remiss if I did that. But we're gonna dive in and look at metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology. Today, we'll probably just get through metaphysics. That's kind of where I have, as far as the plan is concerned. I hope we can get through metaphysics today. And then tomorrow, most likely, epistemology and axiology is what we'll be focusing on. So let's dive in to metaphysics. And you see on your outline, I have definition, key word. Erase this. When I study things like philosophy, I find key words helpful. The key word for metaphysics is reality. That is the word that helps me remember what metaphysics is. Metaphysics centers on the issue of reality. More specifically, what is ultimate reality? That's what metaphysics centers on. Reality. What is ultimate reality? What is ultimately real? Now that is a packed question. And you ask that, how could we think that Scripture has nothing to say and that Christians have nothing to say to that question? Because there is so much in Scripture that speaks to that question and provides a substantive, wonderful answer to what is ultimately real. And we've looked at that a bit already as we consider who God is. Further, as far as metaphysics, just to reiterate, the key word is reality. It answers the question, what is ultimately real? Literally, the word means beyond the physical or beyond physics. David Nagel says it this way in the Glossary of Philosophy, A Student's Guide. Here's Nagel's definition of metaphysics. It is a philosophic subdiscipline concerned with the investigation of reality in both the natural and supernatural realms. It's the quest to discover the really real as opposed to mere appearance. So leave it to the philosophers to talk about what is really real as opposed to mere appearance or as opposed to illusion. Some people will use that term. So it's the quest to discover what is really real as opposed to mere appearance. There's a number of other questions that come up with metaphysics. And you can just put this, if you're taking notes, under the definition section. Other questions that metaphysics asks are things like, why is there something rather than nothing? Why is there something rather than nothing? That's a metaphysical question. As a matter of fact, it would be interesting to hear a non-believer's answer to that. They might think you're crazy for asking it. Why is there something rather than nothing? Does the world have a rational design, or is it meaningless? That's a metaphysical question. Just a couple of others. Did God create the universe? And if so, what's its purpose? Is the cosmos just what I see, or are there unseen spiritual realities as well? So this world around me, is it just what I see, what I can see with my eyes and touch with my hands, or are there realities that are unseen as well? These are metaphysical questions that are important for us to be aware of. Now, let's think about divisions. Divisions, next on your outline. Metaphysics centers on numerous subset areas, such as cosmology, teleology, anthropology, ontology. Those are the various divisions. Got a dot on my eyes. Okay. Cosmology is one of those divisions. What is cosmology? What is cosmology? The study of origins, nature, the development of the universe. That's cosmology. Knight asks it this way. Knight in Philosophy and Education, this is the simple question. How did the universe originate? How did it develop? How did it come to be? And as far as views of cosmology, some views of cosmology are characterized by randomness. Godless views would be characterized by randomness. Others stress purpose. So Christianity would stress the purpose of all that is before us, all that was made. So that's cosmology. We'll speak more to cosmology in a bit when we go into some more biblical aspects of each of these. Now, anthropology. Yeah, I think I've got it coming. Yes, I'll get there, Paul. Thank you, though. If I go out of order, I'll mess my whole self up. But you're right. See, there my outline doesn't match my notes. Doggone it. We're good. Anthropology. What is anthropology? The study of man, the study of humanity, the study of you and me, the study of humans. On the philosophical level, anthropology deals with questions such as what's the relationship between mind and body? We're not going to really tackle that one. You might be glad about that, but that's an anthropological question. In the philosophical realm, how do mind and body relate? Another anthropological question, are people born good, evil, or neutral? Are people born good, evil, or neutral? And this is a really interesting question because within the realm of education, the tendency is to view people as either neutral or good. What's that?
Tabula rasa.
Yes. Tabula rasa. Has had those aspects were either neutral or good, have dominated educational thought, educational philosophy. Do people have a soul? Is a big question with anthropology. That simple question, who and what is man? Is central here. Questions related to death. What happens when we die? Do we live on after death? That's one of those philosophical issues. And within anthropology, there are so many views, there are so many conceptions of that question, what is a human? And with that, I want us to think about for a bit, I want us to move to some slides. And think about several views of man in culture. And this is related to anthropology. Several views of man in culture. On Blackboard, I think it's the slides that begin with the number 10. They're a little out of order. I think we went from 11 to 10. There's the slides that begin with the number 10 is where we are as far as this is concerned. I find this lecture to be helpful in helping me see what has the world said we are. When people conceive of the question, what is man? I hope that this will help us see that a little bit more clearly as far as what the world thinks regarding that question, what is man? Or, to put it another way, what is a human being, as we'll get to in a minute. To introduce the topic, did I post the thing, 29 answers to the question, what is a human being? Is that on Blackboard? Do y'all see that, or did I forget to post that? I may have forgotten to post it. Over the centuries, there have been so many different conceptions to the question, so many different answers to the question, what is a human? And a number of years ago, I ran across this article, 29 answers to the question, what is a human being? I have a few copies of it, and I will post it if it's not up. Not there, okay. In all my busyness, I forgot to do that. But this handout, says 29 answers to the question, what is a human being? And it says, we humans are such complicated creatures. Who are we? Why do we exist? What is our essential nature? These questions have been pondered by humans for a long time, and we still haven't figured it out. At least the person that wrote this says we haven't figured it out. But we have come up with a few theories. We're either pretty smart, pretty ridiculous, pretty inconsequential, or pretty big jerks. Or perhaps some combination of all of these. I found it interesting, the writer of this put number 1, we are the image of God, the book of Genesis. He didn't put Moses, he put the book of Genesis. But that made number 1 as far as who we are. Number 2, we are a God in ruins, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Number 3, man is the measure of all things. Protagoras. If you've read Overman's book, he talks about that quote. And on down the line, 29 answers to the question of what humans are. Sophocles, but breath and shadow, nothing more. There are extensive answers to this question. What is a human being? And I think we have more than just a theory. I think we have clear guidance as far as what we are and who we are. And we will talk about that in this class. But it's interesting because as far as the question, what are humans, there are a number of more technical answers to that question. So I want to spend some time thinking about this. As far as this is concerned, get my notes straight here. What are humans? In contemporary society, we can basically boil this down to 3 different views in basic terms. And I know there are shades and there's a spectrum, but we're going to cover these 3 as main ones. First, there's the view of reductive materialism, also called physicalism. There's non-reductive physicalism, and there's soul-body union. Those are the 3 main views, and we'll take a look at these briefly. First, view 1 is reductive materialism. What is a human? There's the view of reductive materialism. This is the view that says man is basically a body. Humans are basically bodies. We're basically flesh and bones, water, organs, skin, hair, that's what our makeup is. What you see when you see a human is all there is. The body is all there is. We have no spiritual essence, according to this view. We have no soul. We have no spirit. Whatever biblical term you use there. Humans have no immaterial aspect, according to this view. We are just material beings, according to this view. And according to this view, as far as the brain, mind issue within philosophy, there's only brain, there's no mind. Reductive materialism, what do you think those who affirm the view of reductive materialism would say about the afterlife, about heaven and hell? There's nothing. You cease to exist. You die, that's it. No afterlife. And really, you follow this view out, what would it say regarding purpose? We have no purpose. Or we make our own, whatever that might be. But really, it's a view of humanity that does not have a set purpose. One good thing, some scholars will note that this view is not particularly popular among the masses of people out there. It's definitely stronger within academia. And some academic circles, this would be the typical view. Listen to what the late Francis Crick who would be one who affirms this. Here's what he said in his book, The Astonishing Hypothesis, a book that's over in our library. But on page 1 of that book, Crick says this: "The astonishing hypothesis is that your joys, your sorrows, your memories, your ambitions, your sense of personal identity and free will are in fact no more than the behavior of a vast assemblage of nerve cells and their associated molecules. As Lewis Carroll's Alice might have phrased it, you are nothing but a pack of neurons." This hypothesis is so alien to the ideas of most people alive today that it can truly be called astonishing. This view has grown through some forms of scientific study where God is squeezed out, genetics, neuroscience, some forms of cognitive science. And that's just a quick look at reductive materialism or physicalism. It's termed reductive because it really does reduce humans in a very sad and hopeless way. So there's reductive materialism. A second view is called non-reductive physicalism. Non-reductive physicalism. When asked the question, what is a human? Some would present this view, non-reductive physicalism. This view is affirmed by some Christians, or people that would label themselves as Christians. And I would also imagine some non-Christians as well. But as far as this view, some Christians and non-Christians have considered scientific findings about the brain as strong and sound, and they have developed this approach to viewing humans. According to non-reductive physicalism, the human is a physical organism whose complex functioning, both in society and in relation to God, gives rise to higher human capacities such as morality and spirituality. And that's according to Nancy Murphy in the book Whatever Happened to the Soul. Follow me here. With this view, Christians, what Christians would call a soul or a spirit, according to this view, is not really an entity as much as something that emerges from the complex functioning of the brain. As we relate to people, as we relate to God, there is a soulish function that rises up. Not a soul, but a soulish function. Hard to say when your mouth is dry. This view affirms a soulish function alongside the physical, but not the second, or not a soul as the second substance of humanity. I'll say that again. This view affirms a soulish function. A soulish function, but not a soul, which some call spirit, soul or spirit. This view affirms a soulish function alongside the physical, but not the soul as a second substance of humanity. Some who hold this view claim that it's in line with modern biblical studies. And the view focuses on the unity of a person, and I would affirm a unity But I don't think this goes far enough. I don't think this is a biblical view. I do affirm the unity of our makeup, but I do think that we have a soul. I do believe that the Bible teaches that we have a soul. We are a unity, but I think we do have a soul, not just a soulish function. And there's a third view, the soul-body union view. This is the view that I would hold. I mean, it can be termed a number of things, and we're not necessarily in this case talking about dichotomy, trichotomy, all that. That's a separate thing that's beyond our course. But a third view is soul-body union. This view is that humans are a union of material and non-material substances. We are a union of material and non-material substances. What's our material substance? Our body. Our non-material substance would be soul. We're a union of material and non-material substances. I think soul/spirit. I'm not a trichotomist. So contrary to a view like reductive materialism or physicalism, we are more than just a body. And we have more than just a soulish function as well, that second view. We are embodied souls. We are embodied souls. So those are three basic views of the way humans have been defined: reductive materialism, non-reductive physicalism, and soul-body union.